Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
Feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday. You're listening to Whatever Works on KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.
There we go.
It's one of those stations.
It's one of those days. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And tonight we actually have a full studio, as we usually do, actually, with some people who like to watch the show. I know there's people watching live on our website, kcaradio.com, if you guys want to watch us live. It is a broadcast, video cast, and then we also on the radio, obviously. So if you guys are driving around, stick around. We're going to be here for a full hour. We have a couple people here, and this is actually the first time, well, maybe not the first time, but I actually get to interview the co-host today with him and his friends. They're going to be talking about something that they built in the past, and they're going to bring it back and hopefully build something up in the future here. But before we get into that, if you guys have any questions or if you guys want to chime in, you guys can call this number.
888-909-1050. That is 888-909-1050.
And our sponsor?
Sponsors snjradio.com. No negative news, no politics, just feel good music.
Okay, so let's get straight to it. I'm pretty excited. Again, I usually don't get to interview Kyle here, but it's going to be Kyle and his friends. So let's introduce them, and then we'll go from there.
Gotcha. Okay, so sitting directly next to me is Cody.
Hi, I'm Cody.
And then we have Jody.
Hey everyone, my name is Jody.
Hey, you said you were nervous. That was pretty good.
I mean, I am kind of nervous right now. I'm like holding up the headphone, one hand. I'm like, please don't fall.
You can always adjust if you need to.
I think it's as low as it'll go.
Okay. Sounds good. So we got Cody and Jody.
Jody, and Kyle.
And Kyle. And what were you guys doing before?
So we had a music entertainment business where we threw shows and we were doing stage promotion. And we also do just like sound equipment rentals, and we were also DJs as well. And so we had this company called Clash City Entertainment before COVID. Our last show was actually in September of 2019, and then we cut it for the season because usually it's dead, like for the off season, and never came back because of COVID.
Off season was a long season. And when is off season?
It's usually between all the holidays, like all the major holidays, like November, December.
Towards the end of the year.
Yeah, people are out of town. People just don't want to come in and do shows.
Okay. And you said you guys started in 2019?
We started in we technically started in 2013-ish.
Sounds great. I want to say closer to 2012.
2012 with Clash City Station. We actually had a physical venue that we performed at in Riverside, attached to a record store called Cat's Alley.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
Yeah, and Cat's Alley's been around a lot longer, and so Clash City Station opened with Cat's Alley in Riverside.
Very nice.
And about 2017, we lost the lease of the venue, so we started doing it on the road for a couple years.
And how was that, compared to having a stationary spot, being on the road? And
At first, it was tough. We actually had to sit down and do a lot of logistics on how we were going to move equipment. We actually had to find venues this time instead of on top of booking bands. So it was more work for us, but we found the groove pretty fast, I would say.
Yeah.
We actually had a resident place that we went to, which was the venue. It was actually called the Venue in Grand Terrace, funny enough. And so we had shows there, and then we've done shows at different venues from Grand Terrace all the way to Long Beach, here and there.
Mm-hmm. And you guys did it for bands and artists and all
Bands,
that stuff.
rappers. When Clash City Station was open, we actually had like fashion shows and like wrestling events too.
Fashion shows and wrestling events?
Yeah, one of our good friends who's no longer with us, we actually met him. He booked a show for his daughter's quinceañera. And so we had his daughter's quinceañera at our venue.
Oh, wow.
And so that's how we met him, and, we had a good relationship with them still to this day.
Okay. And so going from your guys' experiences, bringing it back now, I mean, it's 2024. I'm sure there's a lot of, like, new things going around and things that are popping, maybe some new technology or new venues or maybe new bands or artists. How do you guys feel coming into 2024, Clash City?
Actually, we had a pretty positive response. I posted on our page, and people have been hitting Cody up. Max apparently got hit up over in Idaho. He's like, I don't do this anymore. And so, so Max got hit up. So did I. People called me. One of our rapper friends who we used to always book, named Beezy, shout out to him. He actually called me on the phone like 2 minutes after I posted. He was like, "What? Like Clash is coming back?" And so, the attention that we've gotten is very good because we didn't think it was going to be that big. We didn't think, we thought we had to build everything back up. But it's good to know that people, we're bringing back memories. Like even when we had our hiatus, people like would always bring up stories of stuff that happened at the venue, and and so people are excited. So we want to throw like a really big show with some of the artists that we used to book, and just to kind of bring everything back, get into the full swing, and then start doing shows again.
Okay, cool. So Cody and Jody, and I guess Kyle too, can you guys explain your guys' roles in Clash City?
I am the sound guy as well as booking and promoting.
I do the same thing. I also do the website stuff.
Okay. What about you, Jody?
I just show up. I'm just kidding. No, I help out with, the front door, making sure that everything really is in a line there. I don't book as of yet, but really just kind of talent scouting, I would say, has been one of my top priorities, as well as helping with the promotions.
So how is talent scouting going? Because, like, when we had, I forgot his name, but he was from the East Coast, and he would find people on, like, SoundCloud and, like, message them and talk to them. And eventually Justin.
Oh, yeah, Justin, yeah.
Yeah, and he eventually just came out here. So how do you guys do talent scouting?
I think we've been very fortunate we're all very personable, I would
Yeah.
say, and especially with their experience within the industry. We've been very fortunate that a lot of the people that we have booked, bands, solo artists, really anyone that we've come in contact with, has said, hey, I have this new up and coming, solo artist or band. Can you give them a shot? Can you give them a listen? And that's where we're so open. We're just, okay, you want to book a show, even if you don't have that many attention grabbers, like, let's get you out there, let's get you known. So we've been very fortunate in that aspect.
Okay, cool. And so as far as you guys' bookings, like, can you tell me how this really works or how it plays out? Like, do you guys find people first, and then once there's enough, quote unquote bookings, then you guys find a venue, or do you guys find a place first and then bookings, or how does that work?
The venue and the date always happens first because, we need a place to actually do the show. And then booking of the bands comes right after.
Much more difficult to get a day and a venue, and then find people that can perform within those time frames at that location. So you always start with the location, time, and then you work on talent.
Yeah, and then after that, it's directly marketing, just getting the show out, making sure people know about it.
Would you guys say marketing or booking is probably the hardest thing in what you guys do?
Booking.
Booking, yeah.
Booking, really? And why is that?
People are fickle. It's the
Yeah.
easiest way to say it. People are very fickle. They always want, one thing or another. There's some bands, some people, performers that will be real easy to work with. There are a lot that are a bit more finicky about what they want, time, anything, any little
Yeah.
details. So it's much harder to get people to commit than it is to get people to come see the shows.
Yeah, and like a lot of times, a lot of bands usually argue or fall apart. You know, well, not like as a whole, but like they kind of skip shows because then one guy can do it this day, but he can't do it this day, and then they argue, and then it's usually 3 different band members from that same band hitting us up. Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, F you. Hey, this.
Hey,
so
F
it's
you.
like, so it's just like it's a lot easier when one person is the voice of the band, but then usually with newer bands coming up, they're trying to develop their sound. They're trying to develop how they want to move forward. So the bass player might feel like he's kind of in charge, or
Team leader or
team
something.
leader, or maybe it's the drummer's garage that they practice in, so he gets the say. And it's always just figuring out who the point of contact is, because sometimes we'll contact band members, and then the rest of the band doesn't know about it for 2 weeks.
Oh man.
That
Until like
definitely
the day of
happens.
performance or something.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, sure, yeah, oh yeah, no, sure, we'll be there, and then like 3 days later, oh hey, so and so can't make it, and so we don't have trouble booking off the bat. It's usually as the show approaches, bands be like, hey, we can't do it.
The follow through is definitely the more difficult of the two.
Yeah.
That is interesting. And you guys, if you guys are just tuning in, it is 15 minutes past the hour. You're listening to Whatever Works on KCAA. We have Clash City. Is it Clash City Station now, or is there another word that you guys use?
Clash City Entertainment.
Clash City Entertainment with me. Kyle, my co-host, is part of Clash City here. I'm just giving them an interview, letting you guys know what they have, what they can provide, because they used to do it for, what was it? Okay, so 2012 to 2019, right? It's like 7 years.
Yeah.
And then you guys took a little breather because of COVID.
Yep.
So now you guys are back and ready to, continue booking. And so my question for you guys is, what's more entertaining for you guys, booking bands or booking artists?
It just depends on what kind of event we're looking at. Because honestly, it kind of depends on the genre, the whole idea behind the event, more than the band or artist or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to book this type of event called local band showcases, and those were the easiest to throw because we had a criteria. We just had to throw people on it, and each time we threw one of these events, a new band would come on and showcase their music at the headlining spot. And so as usually we'd bring artists too, like rappers will come on usually in the earlier sets. There have been times where we had rappers showcase the headlining. Like Cam Archer, we had a whole bunch of bands play before him, and he was the only rapper.
Oh, really?
And so, the local band showcases, especially if there's like, we get a venue or a date coming up that's close, then we know we can book it because we can throw anyone on it. But then usually, like, we had this one series that was hard to book. It was called What's the Beef? And it was, you remember that one?
Yep, it was the beat battle.
Yeah, so it
shows.
was, we had to get producers. And so we had to learn how to market to producers and get them on. But luckily we had a lot of help from Cam and, Over Everything Productions. Shout out to them. So Cam and we had a whole bunch of them help us out, get a whole bunch of producers. And I actually recruited a producer that we went to high school with. So he came on, showcased his beats. I haven't seen him since high school, so it was cool. It was a good event, but it was hard to book.
Yeah. And how many bands and artists do you guys book a night?
It usually depends. Anywhere from like 5 to 10.
Really?
Typically, the ideal is 6 to 8 performances, depending on what genre, depending on how much time we have. But ideally, 6 to 8 is usually a good bracket.
And how much time do you guys usually get for each event?
It's another thing that really varies. It just depends on what the venue's got, like the particular venue that you're working with has available. There were some where we'd have 10 hours to fill, and there's others where we
10
get 2
hours
hours
to fill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'd be like pretty much like a whole day thing, and
Yeah.
I think those ones for me were a lot of fun to book because they actually started. I am the latecomer in this,
Yeah.
so I'm just the newest addition. So I think going to their shows, seeing how they ran it prior to me coming on board, that was my favorite one, was seeing the whole mix and seeing that, it was sometimes pop punk, a rapper, and then like a metal band. It was
Yeah.
just, it
Really?
was so much
Yeah.
fun, even as an audience member, and then now to jump on the team.
Yeah.
Because it just like mixes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. And so if you guys, let's say you guys have like these bookings and there's a couple bands, right? Do you guys have like a standard band equipment there, or do they have to bring their own? Do they have to set up their own, or how does that work?
Each band would bring their own equipment. Then we've got our front of house and monitor system for them to work through as well.
Yeah, so we have our own speakers that we supply, and like I said before, we also do events where like weddings where they just need sound, and so we bring our sound equipment on and we level it out. We have a snake, something called a snake, which directs everything to the soundboard, but then reaches towards the stage, so that way they
Right.
can hook in. Their the guitars can hook into their 1/4 inch. They can hook into like XLRs, whatever they need for like.
So between each band or each booking, like the setup, how long does it take for a band to do a setup and like a breakdown and bring in the next one? Because if we're talking like 6 or 8, bands or artists, that's a lot of breakdown and setups, right?
We actually got pretty quick at it, right?
Yeah, but that is another extreme variable that
Yeah.
would be hard to define what it would be, but the ideal is 15 minutes or less.
Yeah.
5 minutes for the prior band to tear down and remove,
5 minutes?
because they don't have to pack it on stage. They just gotta,
Oh,
You
they
just
just gotta
have to
move
take
it
it
off
off,
stage.
yeah.
and then the next band
Yeah.
to get on, set up in 10 minutes and go.
So you better get that rolly up there pretty quick.
Yeah.
That is so crazy. And obviously they're aware of that, but do you guys have like staff members there to help for teardowns and setups and
Oh, yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, we're always giving them time updates. If a band's running long, hey, you got this amount of time, be ready, be staged. And then if they need help getting on, getting off, we're there helping, making sure everything's getting set up properly.
So during the breakdown, is it like what happens in between that? Is it just like silent, like people are just sitting there waiting, or do you guys have like music playing in the
We have
background?
music playing.
Yeah.
Music playing in the
Yeah.
background. Is it usually like just the crowd, or is it like do you guys play for like dinners and stuff like that? Or talk about the different venues that you guys have experienced.
It's usually bars that we play for. I'm trying to think of a venue that we played at that wasn't a bar. There's probably a couple.
As per regular book shows, it was just bars because
Yeah.
unfortunately the Inland Empire has lost most of its music venues. And even worse, Southern California has lost a massive amount of all ages music venues.
All ages, and that's something that you guys really want to focus on, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
primarily the whole thing about Clash City Station was that you could bring your family to watch you perform.
Mm.
And
was-
you still have that area where you could drink, and you still have that area where you could smoke, and do
Okay.
stuff. So
When you guys off the air, you guys were talking about these people from San Diego when they threw their show, and was that an all ages venue?
unfortunately, yes.
At that time, we were a Clash City Station, and Clash City Station was always all ages. There were a
Yeah.
few more private type shows that were not all ages due to different legalities of things.
Oh, okay. So, just for entertainment for all the listeners here, can you guys talk about that event with the people in San Diego with this all ages show? Or
Do you want to tell a story this time?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So it was actually a local band showcase.
right.
And so we were like, this time around, we said, hey, whoever can sell the most tickets can headline. And so basically we did this like, we don't have a headliner. You're all competing for the headlining spot when you get here.
That's kind of fun.
We have the time slots. We have, how many bands we need to book. You just got to show up and sell the tickets. So we had bands from Riverside book 5 tickets, 3 tickets, and this band, I don't know who booked them. Was it you?
That was me.
Cody
job,
booked this
Cody.
band
Makes sense, Cody.
from San Diego, and I remember Kevin, our old boss, is like, "Man, they're not gonna sell anything. Why would you do that?" And little did we know, they drove earlier that day to the Tyler Mall, and they sold like 30 tickets, and then they ended up going to Club 215, which is a strip club, for those who don't know, and sold tickets there and brought some dancers to the show. And mind you, there's kids at the show. And so we see this band come in, a whole group of people, and then dancers, like 4 or 5 of them.
Dancing.
Yeah. And during their set, they were actually dancing and,
Yes, however, they did stay fully clothed.
they did stay fully clothed.
Well, that's good.
Just
Yeah.
keeping it classy. Keeping it classy.
Yeah.
Were they aware that it's an all age?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone was informed, hey, you got to keep it cordial. There's kids around. And so.
And did the crowd like that? Did you guys get any complaints about that, or was it just like a surprise? A family's bringing in their kids to watch Deadpool or something like.
It actually went surprisingly well.
Yeah?
Everyone loved them. I mean, the band is great.
Yeah?
If you ever get the chance to see them live,
Yeah.
I don't know if they're performing anymore, but they're actually a really good band, and we got everyone moving, even people who are just like, who stayed for rappers, who stayed for we got everyone moving.
Mm-hmm. And so with all these bookings and stuff, do you guys charge these bands and artists to come on and perform, or?
Absolutely not. The number one thing we've always avoided is pay to play, which is what most venues will force bands into, and typically it's you have to sell this many tickets, and then they're lucky if they get any kind of cut. If we ever did tickets with bands, we always would stick with a 50-50 split because everybody's working together.
Yeah. And so usually it was like a $10 ticket. So, you bring all your tickets and the money, and then we give you half the money.
Right. And then when you guys do book at a place or something, don't they charge you guys?
Depends on the location.
Yeah.
Depends on
There's a lot of places that will charge you. There's other places, especially bars, where they'll work with you on a bar split because you're bringing in a lot more drinkers. So we usually avoid the ones that want to charge because we'd
Yeah.
rather get the music out there and have everybody have a good time.
Yeah.
And so, do you guys have a new plan or a new strategy coming up this time of year for you guys as Clash City Entertainment?
So right now we're working at securing a venue for a comeback show. I already have half of the people who want to come on for the show. Some people that we've had before, and then Cody and Jody are gonna, provide the rest of the bands and rappers, whoever wants to come on, talk to them. And so we have our emails back set up, our contact information is on the website, and right now we're just trying to find a venue that'll hold us.
And so, what's your guys' website?
ClashCityENT.com.
ENT.com. And when do you guys plan on doing the show?
As soon as we book a show, we're gonna start promoting it right away. We'll book a venue,
Okay. Do you guys have any ideas where you want to book it, or?
preferably Inland Empire.
Mm.
Yeah.
So where was your last show that you guys booked?
The last show that we had was at our resident bar, which was the venue in Grand Terrace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked to them and try to maybe go back to that? Or?
I'm actually in talks with the owner. We're playing phone tag right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably the toughest thing, right? Is trying to get these places to book you guys.
Well, that's the thing too. One of the things I noticed is all the venues that we were cool with, either the owners aren't there anymore, so we have to reestablish a connection,
Mm-hmm.
or owners are doing other things. They're doing, from what I understand, some of the venues that I've contacted are doing other jobs too. And so I have a full-time job. I take care of my dad full-time.
Right.
So I have to call in between a finite amount of hours, and then they get to call me back between a finite amount of hours. So it's just us getting back and forth and,
Right.
you know, figuring it out.
When you guys first started Clash City Station, did you guys all have full-time jobs, or was this something that you guys just went all in at?
At the time, when it was first started, actually, none of us were directly involved when it first started. Then myself and my fiance were brought on, and at the time, I want to say my fiance was in school and probably a part-time job. I was disabled. And so we just kind of came in and helped out and then just kept building along. And then Kyle joined in a little while after that. And I don't believe you had any kind of job at the time.
No, so the way I got recruited was we actually Timmy and I graduated with someone named Sean Madsen, and so I'm looking for a job, and me, Sean, and another Tim hung out, and I'm like, hey, I need a part-time job. I need to find somewhere. Sean's like, hey, my cousin is looking for somebody. You know, it's in the music industry, you know, so we can keep doing music, whatever. And so, yeah, I interviewed with Mac. Well, I showed up for like 3 minutes, and he's like, yeah, no, just come in. And so Max and Kevin liked me enough, and so it wasn't even an interview. It was just a conversation. We were laughing it up. It was like, I never had an interview like that where you go in and then you just start joking around. It's hard. And so I went into a show, and my first job was to check wristbands at a part of the venue called the Beer Garden.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a fenced-off area, and with only one opening. So it was like a chain link fence, and there was a couch in the back. And in the front was beers,
Right.
You know, different kinds of beers on ice. And so my job essentially was to check wristbands. And then someone else was there to give out the beers, and then they ended up quitting, so I did both jobs. And then ended up moving up from there.
And what about you, Jody? How did you kind of get into this? Were you working at the time?
We
Well, what had
kidnapped Jody.
happened was, yeah, I ended up being, I guess, a recruit, for the lack of a better term, or kidnapped, you know, however we want to say it. I was actually with another production company at the time. We had, so I started with them. An artist that they have actually booked wanted to do a music fest. It was round 2. He successfully did one a few years before. I was like, dude, I was so instrumental in the first one. I need to be a part of the second one. I don't care what you put me as, but I am helping out with this, you know, festival. Like, figure it out. So that's essentially how I met them. Left the other production company after about a year, I think it was. But multiple shows with these guys, and we just developed really good friendships almost instantaneously, I want to say.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are stuck with me. I would still come out to
You're
shows.
stuck with me.
Like, guess what, guys? Mom's here and she's staying. Can't get rid of me. And yeah, I think that's just really how it happened. I had communicated with them like, hey, I'm no longer with this other company. If you guys ever need help, let me know. I really want to stay in the scene. I really want to stay within this industry. And I do have a full-time job. I've been with that company whole time I've known you guys.
So, yeah.
So yeah, I would do this and work my full-time job.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this is Clash City Station back in the game. It's actually Clash City Entertainment now, right? You guys switched up. Glad I got that corrected. It is half past the hour, but we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about a little bit more about Clash City Station and what's going on here with you guys. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. You're listening to Whatever Works on KCAA. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine
the Bureau of Economic Geology, this is Earth Date. In 1816, half a foot of snow fell in New England. That would be completely unremarkable, except that it was in one day, in June. The same summer, Mary Shelley spent a chilly vacation holed up indoors and used the time to write Frankenstein. Crops failed around the world, plunging Thomas Jefferson into serious debt for the rest of his life. Oats became scarce in Germany, making horse travel expensive and leading to the invention of the bicycle. Struggling farmers in China began raising opium, giving rise to a drug trade that has lasted to modern times. And famine in many areas led to widespread disease, including a cholera outbreak that killed millions. What was the cause of all this chaos? A year earlier, a volcano erupted in Indonesia. Larger than Krakatoa, Vesuvius, or Mount St. Helens, Mount Tambora erupted for 2 weeks straight. Around it, nearly 100,000 people died, buried under thick layers of ash, like in Pompeii. Greenhouse gas emissions from the eruption, which could have warmed the atmosphere, were offset by particulates and sulfur dioxide gas. Ash and dust blocked out the sun temporarily, darkening skies around the world. The sulfur dioxide was longer lasting, becoming aerosols that reflected the sun's heat for 3 years. This turned 1816 into the year without summer, as it was called, with long-term global effects. The good news? The atmosphere recovered within a decade, and life went back to normal. I'm Scott Tinker.
Earth Date is produced by the Bureau of Economic Geology at the University of Texas at Austin. Earth Date is researched by Julie Hennings, written by Harry Lynch, and distributed by Mark Blunt and Casey Walker. For more stories, follow us on Facebook or visit earthdate.org.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
In these trying times, many people are depressed and lost because the future of our society is up in the air. If you're turning to substance abuse because you're feeling there is no hope, we have a way for you to see the light. SAD, or Stop Abusing Drugs, is a nonprofit organization that will help you, at no cost to you, stop abusing drugs. Founded by Tony Navarchi, SAD will refer you to the top detox doctors in your area. SAD will pay every and any cost for you, including doctor visits, counseling, and medications. If you need help, SAD is there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you or a loved one needs help, or if you have a suggestion or idea for Tony, you can reach out to him by calling 844-493-3386. That's 844-493-3386. Or email Tony at tony@saddetox.com. That's Tony at SADDETOX.com.
I'm Robert Manny, host of Guys Guys Radio, heard Wednesdays at 8 and Sundays at 6 p.m. right here on KCAA. Guys Guys Radio is the place where men and women can be at their best and everyone wins. We're here to inform you, inspire you, and empower you through the journeys, stories, and insights of the guests I bring you every week to the show. This is Robert Manny, host of Guys Guys Radio, inviting you to join me Wednesdays at 8 and Sundays at 6 p.m. right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're around it. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday. You're listening to Whatever Works on KCAA, 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And tonight we have Clash City Entertainment in the building.
Hey-o.
You know, I keep talking about I need a automatopoeia sound button or something.
Oh, yeah,
you
or-
know, like clapping or applause or something.
Yeah.
Some train horns. Or, I don't know. But anyways, we're working on that. You guys, if you guys are just tuning in and you guys want to go back and listen to the first half of our show, you guys can go on Spotify, Apple Music, or even the website. Just look up KCA, whatever works, you'll find us there.
Yeah.
Also, we have an Instagram page that you guys can either DM us, or look at some previous other stuff that we got going on.
Yeah.
Clash City also has an Instagram page. You guys are live right now, right?
We are live right now.
There you go, live on
Clash-
Instagram.
At Clash City ENT on all social media.
Yes,
and
so-
ClashCityENT.com.
Yes, and it is how'd you say it? Free to play or something?
Not. Are you talking like booking shows?
Yeah.
Just not pay to play.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what we avoid.
Yes. So basically, Clash City Entertainment is a company that helps local artists, bands, and everyone in that entertainment industry to come together and, perform at venues all around here. Like you guys said, your furthest booking was out in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Your furthest venue. They've been around since 2012. And then COVID kind of put the brakes on it, but they sharpened their swords. They're ready to come out here and help everyone out. So if you guys are looking to, get your name out there and play some music for the people, you guys can hit up Clash City Entertainment. They have a website, which is
ClashCityENT.com.
and their Instagram.
Clash City at Clash City ENT.
Yeah. And if you guys ever booked with them before, you guys can always call in at this number.
888-909-1050. That is 888-909-1050.
Yeah, and talk about their experience, or if you guys are new and looking for something, you guys can call in as well. But before we jump back into our conversation, it is sponsor time.
SNJRadio.com. No negative news, no politics, just feel good music.
Yes, and we are back, man. There are so many things that we talked about before we went on break,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to touch base a little bit. You guys have this motto. You guys don't pay to play, right?
Correct.
And you guys play in local areas, and you guys said the hardest thing is to do these bookings and find these venues. You guys are looking for one right now, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
You guys do have a lineup right now with some bands and artists.
We have kind of a rough starting lineup.
Okay. Well, you still need a place to play, so it's
Yeah.
a good start to actually get your eyes and ears up there. So.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. What made you guys want to come back and bring back Clash City Entertainment?
Well, we never wanted to leave.
It was kind of forced out.
Yeah. We were kind of forced out. And then, life got in the way. Cody was starting a new job. I was doing great at Leslie's until I wasn't. And then and so I was moving back and forth between jobs, just trying to find a career. So we all want to get into a place where we were stable and could do Clash City. And so it wasn't until a few months ago where I was finally stable. Mm-hmm. And so Cody and I talked about bringing it back last year, but then the COVID restrictions were still kind of there. Some venues were just being real, conservative about their laws and how they want to do things. Mm-hmm. And some venues didn't even want to care, and so we wanted to find that middle ground. And now that I would say 90% of the virus is over. It's still around, but everyone's coming back into business. All these venues are coming back up. All these bars are opening up. There was like 50 to 70 bars opened up last year, in LA. You know,
wow.
yeah,
In LA alone?
in LA alone. And
It's a lot of opportunity.
It's a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
And shout out to Star Cali, who is one of our good friends, who is capitalizing on that in the LA County, and who's offered to help us with booking in our company. And so, yeah, it's just finding out who wants to work with us at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because all those stories come out, and either people are scared or happy.
Right. Yeah.
No.
So something that caught my attention, you said
Yeah.
that you're looking to be stable and then, have Clash City around. Would Clash City overall, like, is your guys' goal to have Clash City to become such a prominent, entertainment industry, like, thing to where you guys can be stable just doing this?
That's always been the goal for at least me. Is to bring the venue back. It doesn't have to be in the same location, but there needs to be a venue in at least between Riverside and San Bernardino where it's all ages, everyone can go to. There's live music, and bring some other ideas back. And so there's no venue right now that has all three, all ages, live music, or proper entertainment. And so we want to bring all that criteria into one building again, and eventually bring Clash City Station back. Probably either keep it that name or name it something else, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty accurate.
And so are you guys wanting to maybe expand that idea where I know you said you want to make it here like San Bernardino, Riverside area, like basically the Inland Empire, but how big of a scale do you guys want to take this?
Well, I mean, Max used to be a part of us, and he still is. He's just in Idaho. And so
Just not in the state.
yeah,
Just not
yeah,
a
yeah. No,
different
he's
area code.
just like 1,500 miles away. It's no big deal.
Just a minute or two away.
Yeah. And so he was kind of talking to us about, if he were to bring some stuff back, kind of do live music out there. And so he asked Cody and I, and we're like, yeah. So he started ordering equipment like last year, and so he has some equipment there to start it off. And he has access to everything, so he could throw shows, and that's Clash City, Idaho.
Clash City, Idaho. Hey, honestly, that would actually be pretty cool. You represent like whatever state that you're doing it in, like Clash City, California, Clash City, Idaho. Like,
Yeah.
all that has a ring to it. I think that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So under the one company, but just international.
Cody and I made it known to him that he's number 2. We're still number 1.
Okay, cool.
You can't get rid of the OGs.
Yeah. So, would you guys say that once Clash City Entertainment is up and running and at its peak, would that be more of like a full-time job that you guys are both going to be standing on?
No. There's a lot of time that goes into it, but it'd have to be a part-time job.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Can I ask, like, why are you guys doing this? Is this like for the kids? No, not really for the kids, but is it for all the people out there that want to be heard, need to be heard, or is it for like your guys' own entertainment?
It's for the love of music,
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
as performers and as showgoers, because everybody needs a fair, safe place to be able to enjoy music as well as play music. So
Yeah.
that's why we avoid, like you mentioned earlier, the pay-to-play. It's also why we aim for an all ages, so everybody can enjoy music and entertainment, whatever they want, in one area without a problem.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it. I mean, I know myself as a teenager. I wish I had had someone to take me to those shows. I know it's
Yeah.
hard to picture me young.
Yeah.
I'm older now. I got my cane and everything.
Yeah.
Cody.
Hey, it's at home.
I wished I had had someone to take me to those things, or even, a place that was close to home. Growing
Right.
up in Riverside, my closest big place was Pomona. I'm 14 years old. I don't have a way to get to Pomona.
Right.
But we got to play a way. There's a bus that can take me right down the street, and
Yeah.
that was one of the great things about the venue in Grand Terrace. So I think personally for me, that's one of the things that I'm most excited about bringing this back is, again, having that safe haven for people and having that place to go to, in a sense, stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
You guys know where you guys should really book if you guys could? The Redlands Rose Bowl.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
They're doing, I think, like a $2.4 million like renovation on the Rose Bowl. And if you guys
I did hear something about that.
Yeah,
actually,
if you guys can book that, that would be so awesome.
I think my only
Yeah.
concern would be handling sound.
Yeah,
'Cause I imagine that could be a hassle.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing it for the the sound of music, for all the people lovers out there. And that's something that, like, because you guys always do like inside buildings, right? Have you guys ever done like outside venues?
Oh yeah.
Well, and even on that idea, our old venue, the Clash City Station, was actually an inside-outside. It was an old automotive garage. We'd roll up all the doors, and people could be inside or they could be outside. Everybody could hear the music. But on that note, one of the most fun things we did setting up sound was we got to set up the sound to test out a stage built into a cut-open airplane
Yeah.
Really?
at the San Bernardino Airport. That was a lot of fun.
Now that sounds pretty cool.
It was
Yeah.
pretty sick.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I know at the Tartan, it's a restaurant in Redlands, they have a band every Thursday and Saturday night. Different bands that come in, they kind of rotate and do their thing. But because they're outside playing music, it brings people from outside, like the people who are walking around Redlands, to like, there's a band playing, like, and then they come in and check it out, and like it draws a lot of people in. Like that's one way they promote themselves. So definitely, an outside performance, especially in a very populated area, like Redlands. If you guys can do Redlands, I think that'll be pretty cool, because Redlands is an entertainment area, or at least trying to be. So if you guys, or even Yucaipa, Yucaipa is growing to be trying to do an entertainment area as well. So
Yeah, Redlands is a great area. However, it is also very difficult to get into.
Yeah.
But we've done a couple small things in Redlands, both fun and less fun. But I don't think we've ever done anything in Yucaipa outside of private stuff.
No, we haven't.
have you guys ever? I'm sure you guys had some really successful nights. Have you guys ever had like really disastrous nights?
Oh yeah,
It happens
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
we brought on one person, and one of their first shows absolutely tanked, lost money.
Really?
Yeah.
Were they just horrible, or?
No, it's just luck. It's
Luck.
luck of the draw. They did a great job. They brought in a good show, but sometimes people just don't show.
I see.
Yeah. Oh, funny enough, that same person. I think you're talking about.
Yeah, I wasn't
Cam,
gonna.
right?
I wasn't gonna call him out, but yeah.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, why you gotta call him out like that, dude?
Come on,
Well,
Kyle.
no, actually, I was gonna say he's actually one of the most successful people in the industry right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
He did shows with us, and then he did shows with us by himself, and then he ended up doing shows in L.A. We're very proud of where he's gotten to.
Shoot, we did a show with him. We did the sound for one of his shows over at the Knott Center at Orange Show. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
That was a good show too.
It was like 500 people.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and that was his show. We didn't book it. He did all the acts. He just needed our sound equipment.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Really goes to show it's a lot of luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Do you guys interview the people that you guys bring in, like the bands and artists, or do you guys just like take what you can get and bring them in?
We do an extensive look at their music and get an idea of what they are, reach out, and then basically working on booking them is kind of an interview, because if
Yeah.
something stands out that could be problematic within an all ages venue, you kind of cut the line and
What would
walk
be
away.
problematic for an all age? Like just like their music, or?
Not necessarily the music, because all ages will enjoy all sorts of music, but
Requests that they may make.
maybe requests they
Yeah.
may make, saying they're going to do something like, I remember not my personal experience, but talking to another promoter, they had somebody dump a bunch of blood all over the sound equipment. It was fake blood, but that causes damage that ruins everybody's night, not just
Oh, wow.
the other bands, but the showgoers, the people working.
Yeah.
So you just kind of get an idea as you're going. Most bands are pretty easy to work with.
Yeah.
Performers, I should say.
One of the best bands that we've ever worked with was called Little Debbie and the Moon Pies.
Love them.
And so they're kind of a thrash metal band, but what they do is in the middle of their set they pull out moon pies, like the Little Debbie moon pies, and they'll chuck them at people.
Namely, people that are not paying attention.
Yeah.
Or Cody, because he gets hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time I ever saw them was as an audience member at one of your guys' shows, and I hadn't heard of them before. Like, I was listening, but I was also trying to get my app up at the time so I could take a quick video. Jody caught one to the chest. She did. Yeah. And I was like, ow, what was that? I was like,
pie?
A moon pie thrown at me? Like, what just happened? Wow. But I'm going to eat that later.
Yeah. I guess that's one way to be, to stand out and stuff. Like, oh, this is the band that, throws pies or something, 'cause
right, yeah.
There's a DJ that throws cake. What's his name?
I forgot.
Yeah, but we all know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big old cake too. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's dangerous.
He has a residency in Vegas. That's how I heard about him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a big pop star. So, do you guys have competitors in terms of like other venues who are trying to book all these people and?
Kind of, but not really. Everyone else is in LA.
Okay.
Also, most other production companies or booking companies will only work with particular genres, as to where we don't care. We just like music. So we work with pretty much anyone.
Some companies will just work with their specific bands. They'll have like 10 or 20 bands that they'll only work with. They won't bring anyone else in.
Interesting.
We've at Clash City Station we've booked other people who are promoters. People who there were certain promoters they'd bring in bands, it'd be the same bands, and some promoters would bring in bands, it'd be different bands, pay to play, whatever. And so we wanted to be the one to stand out. We didn't do any of this criteria. We're booking people as they are, bands as they are, regardless of your genre
or age.
Age.
Yeah.
Right.
We've booked. We've had underage bands at Clash City Station because we could. We've had underage bands at bars. They just had to go play their music and go off. But
I think the youngest band we ever worked with. I think the oldest one in the band was like 11 years old. And they were actually really good. I wish I remember the band's name.
Really?
Yeah, they were great.
That is something else. I like that. Well, you guys, we have 1 minute left, so I do got to close out here. But if you guys are in a band or you're an artist out there who's looking to get their voice heard, especially play in front of some strangers, right? Because that's what you want to do, really get out there and expose yourself. Hey, hit up Clash City Entertainment. Again, the website is
Clash City ENT, CLASH CityENT.com.
And then your Instagram?
At Clash City ENT.
Yes. So if you guys, and you don't pay to play, so hit them up. Let's get some bookings. Hey, best of luck to all you guys. And you guys.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you guys soon next couple months, see how everything's going.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you guys listening to Whatever Works on KCAA. We are clocking out, but stay tuned for the 8 o'clock show with Farron. And be safe and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Never stress. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Now you can listen to KCAA Radio anytime on your smartphone device. Call 720-83